I can tell you, before you install this plugin, you've got absolutely no idea how many people are trying to break into your website every day.
Yeah.
Every minute of every day.
Because what you can do is you can turn on the email notifications. So if someone is trying to break into your website, you get an email notification every time they try and log in.
Which is what I did. And then now that we've got 200 sites, if I got an email notification every time someone tried to break into our sites, I would never clear my inbox. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Digital Marketing Wingman podcast, the podcast where we bring you helpful tips and advice on websites, Google, and social media.
Alrighty, welcome everybody. This is our first attempt at a podcast live, and rather than starting off small, we're attempting to do everything massive by being live on Facebook via my computer. We've got Instagram live going via my phone. We've got the Canon shooting us for a video later on, and we've got the microphones hooked up to record a podcast. So bear with us if it does not work. We're just trying it out really for the first time. So this is the start of our Digital Marketing Wingman podcast. And if I'm telling the truth, it's actually the third time we've attempted to record it. The first two times, they didn't go so well. It was a little bit awkward. So we're just trying to work through some things and talk about, I guess, things that we're passionate about and things that we think that maybe others would benefit from as well. So we decided that this podcast we're going to try and talk about something we are very passionate about, which is building websites in WordPress and our favorite plugins that we like to use pretty much on every single website, and we think that others could benefit from using them too. So Nicholas, do you want to start us off? What's probably the biggest plugin that you would install? What's the one that you guaranteed have to install on every single website?
Every single site, you definitely have to install Yoast. That's probably the first plugin I install before I get stuck into web design.
And what is Yoast for anyone who...
So anyone that runs a WordPress website, Yoast is the most popular SEO plugin for WordPress. It gives you a whole slew of features to make sure that your website is optimized and running the best it can for search engines.
Okay, so there's a tool in Yoast where Yoast is the name of the guy that originally developed it, by the way. I think he's from Sweden or something like that.
Yeah, Yoast the Develop.
Okay, I won't try that. And it's basically like it gives you a score, or like it sort of tells you what things you should be doing to optimize a page for a particular phrase. It sets up a lot of things in your website that you need, like a sitemap.
Yep.
To tell Google what pages are in your website.
It lets you know to tell Google that it can index your website while the robots file.
That's it, yeah. You can choose what your titles will be on each page, what your meta descriptions are on each page. You can specify what image and what title and description is shown when you share your post or your page on social media. There's just a whole bunch of, fields and options that you have it is primarily for Google, but it does carry across into other platforms as well. Yeah. So if I'm installing Yoast, what do I have to do? I have to go into WordPress to the plugins area, just search for Yoast SEO, I think gets you there, finds the plugin.
Yep.
And what would you do then?
And then as soon as it installs, it will just open up a welcome screen, so you can just go through I think it's a 10-step process. So absolutely anyone can do it. You just go through and literally just fill in the blanks.
That's the setup wizard, yeah?
Yeah. So it'll just...
does all the key stuff, the things you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and does that automatically.
Yeah, it probably does, yeah. Before you'd have to go through 10 different pages to manually do it, and now you can just go through those 10 steps and do 90% of the work.
So... one thing that I give people advice on is that it is just a guide. So don't put in your target keyword on a page. And if you don't get all green lights, because it tells you whether you're doing all the right things to rank for that particular word. If you don't get all green lights, don't be too concerned. It is just a guide. You don't have to follow it to the absolute letter.
No,
but it
just gives you a good indication.
Yeah,
and it can let you know if you're so far off what you're actually trying to target, or if you're on the right track.
Okay, cool. We've got a comment. Oh, closer to the microphone, Nicholas, is the word I'm getting.
Thanks, Brandon. Didn't think I'd see you on here.
Nick is a quiet talker. So what about performance then? So every website should be running fast, not only for their users' experience, but also for SEO. I'm just going to turn my microphone around, sorry, because I noticed the blue light shining in my face. You always want your site to run fast. What plugins would you install to make your site fast? Now, I don't want to go into too much technical information here. I want the easy wins, the things that you can do that are just going to be a tick of a box.
All right. So easiest one for anyone, which is great if you do it at the start of of starting your website, but you can definitely do it afterwards. Would be to install Smush, SMUSH. What that does is it gets all the images that you've uploaded to your library and compresses the hell out of them.
You'll have to talk loud.
It's on. How loud? How's this?
A little bit louder. We'll fix that for the podcast, but for the live, we'll try and go a little bit louder.
Yeah. So Smush. So what you do is you install it, and you will go to the WPMU Smush button, and then you just start the process. And what it does is it goes through your media library and just compresses the hell out of all your images, and can save you megabytes and megabytes of loading time.
And that's probably half the battle for website load time is the size of the images. People uploading large photos from their cameras. They might not have any image editing program.
Or when you just download them straight from those stock libraries like Unsplash and things like that, they're maybe 6 or 7 megabytes, and you can run it through that and compress it to under a megabyte.
Yeah. Okay. So you do that at the start of your site. So you need to install that from the start?
No. Well, if you do it at the start, then you don't need to worry about it. And it just automatically will compress it every time you upload an image. But if you do it afterwards, you need to bulk smush your media library.
So go back to the old ones and smush them up.
Yeah. You just have to press one button to smush them all at once.
Okay. So that's your images. What else?
We have a plugin that we use called... Well, they probably go hand in hand, which is the Auto Optimize and WP Supercache. So both of those combined will take all the files that you get from your themes and your plugins and compress them all into 1 or 2 smaller files.
So it's another thing. I guess if you're looking at, there's some tools you can use to test the performance of your page, and Google Page Insights is one, but there's another one called Pingdom. I think the URL is tools.pingdom.com, and one of the metrics that it uses is how many files does it need to request from your page to load the page. So that might be how many images, but also how many styling sheets, how many JavaScript files, and if you can reduce that and just make it a smaller amount of requests, the page will load faster. So it's much faster to load, let's just say 20 large requests than it is to load 100 small requests. Even though it might be the same total size, but because it's a smaller amount of requests, the page will load faster.
Yeah.
So that's what Auto Optimize does. It basically combines a bunch of your files into one file, and reduces the file size a bit, squishes out all that negative.
It's hard to not make it sound really complex.
It's not complex. So you just install it and tick a box, I believe.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
Just enable it so you can choose to compress your styling, your CSS, and or your JavaScript. Yeah, that one's a really easy one. It can, in some cases, if you're running some unusual themes or scripts, it can break the site. So always important to test what you're doing. So there are some ways you can get around that, but test it out. And if it's not for you, you can always just turn it back off again straight away.
Yeah, we do have a question, but I cannot read.
I can't read it even.
Will Smush take images and resize them and dump the large image? I don't think it deletes the original, but you can set in the settings a maximum width and height. So by default, I think we usually do 2,000 pixels, and then that will...
So I've tried that. There is that full image setting.
Yeah.
I have never seen that working, to be honest. Something I have to try.
No, there's a new update. It works now with the latest update.
So is that the full-size image? Will that get rid of the originally...
It doesn't get rid of the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be good if it did.
Yeah.
That kind of, yeah.
Well, there is a pro version, but we're just using the free version.
Well, okay,
so,
we're using the free version in all of these plugins, actually.
I think the good thing about Smush is it doesn't do it on your website. It goes to a server and compresses it and then sends it back to your website.
Yeah.
So you won't have any latency or low speed while that's compressing.
Great. Okay, what else? Supercache. Tell us a little bit more about Supercache.
Supercache.
So there's two options when it comes to caching, page caching.
Yeah.
And you've got Supercache, and I think the other one's Total Cache.
W3 Total Cache.
Now, I think for some reason Total Cache is more popular than Supercache. But I was once told that the guys from Automatic...
It is.
It's like they made Supercache.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So why not use the one that... From the same makers of WordPress, why not use their plugin for the caching? So,
yeah, the Total Cache has a lot of ads and stuff like that. So,
and I believe Total Cache is a bit more complicated. I think Supercache is relatively easy. At least the first stage of just turning it on is extremely easy. It's either on or off.
Yeah.
And the idea is that rather than going to your web server, querying the database, building the file, using all your plugins to build that page, it does it once and then stores a copy of that page somewhere on the server, so that the next person that requests that page gets that copy. So it's nice and fast. Makes all of your pages load a lot faster. And then you can change it to set how long between refreshes. So say if you updated your page, it might take 10 minutes or 15 minutes before users see that change. But that's the trade-off, I guess, for fast pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so all three of those are relatively easy. You really just install them, turn them on,
and do the default settings.
I
know with the WP Supercache it says recommended, so you just tick all the recommended and you should be on the right track.
So for all of our sites, and we've got nearly 200 websites now running on our servers, would we go beyond the default settings on any of those sites?
I don't think so.
I don't think we would either.
No. Maybe
Smush
once or
default,
twice.
Or optimize, the occasional minor configuration on optimize, and Supercache very much default.
Yeah, definitely.
So all three of those plugins really for anybody on any website, and those three combined would drastically improve your website performance. Definitely. Okay, the last plugin suggestion that we have is security. Now, one of the things, we're falling out of the shot there for Instagram Live. I'm sorry. One of the things that WordPress gets a bad name for is being hacked, being vulnerable to hackers, which is totally not true, because it's got one of the best communities, the best updates. They come through quickly. The problem with security with WordPress is website owners that don't update their website. They don't update their plugins, or they install dodgy plugins. That's really the cause. So you can alleviate some of that risk though, and there are performance benefits to this as well with a security plugin.
Yes, so there's a whole bunch of them.
WordFence is one.
Yeah, WordFence. The WP Rocket one is another one.
Yep.
But the most popular would probably be the iThemes Security, which we use on every single site that we set up and launch. I think once again, the default settings when you initially install it, iThemes Security Pro, just iThemes Security, should do most of the work for you.
Yep. There's a security check that they run.
Yeah.
So
the first time you set it up, it runs a security check and just
does sort of like those key things, locking down certain configuration, certain password logging in rules and things like that. I know I go in there and I sort of play around with how many times a user can get the password wrong before they're banned. They initially get locked out for 15 minutes, and then if they do it again, they get banned for life. I play around with all these settings, and sometimes you get caught out if you don't remember your password and you get yourself locked out. It's a bit of a pain in the butt to try and unlock yourself. But I can tell you, before you install this plugin, you've got absolutely no idea how many people are trying to break into your website every day.
Yeah.
Every minute of every day.
Because what you can do is you can turn on the email notifications. So if someone is trying to break into your website, you get an email notification every time they try and log in.
Which is what I did, and then now that we've got 200 sites, the if I got an email notification every time someone tried to break into our sites, I would never clear my inbox. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
And these aren't people that are specifically targeting your website. These are just bots that just crawl millions and millions of websites looking for a way to get in.
Looking for someone who's just left that door open, used the password, or hasn't updated their plugin, looking for holes, looking for entries.
Yeah.
Another good one, a good setting on there is to move your admin login address.
Yep.
And we do this. So the usual WordPress admin login is /wp-admin.
Yep.
Why not just hide that so that people can't even find the door to try a key in if you like. So we just move that to a different address for every website. Good little trick.
Yeah.
There are a lot of settings in iTheme security.
No, I can't even remember them all. There's probably about 50 settings.
And there's a simple view and an all view where you can see absolutely every possible configuration. We probably touch a tenth, maybe a fifth of what's in that plugin.
Yeah.
And your web host should do a lot of the security anyway. You should be covered by a good web hosting company. But just little extra bits that you can, I guess, minimize your risk of your site being hacked. So a good one to install. So we've covered the SEO, Yoast SEO as your preferred SEO plugin. Performance-wise, you should be looking at Smoosh to compress all of your images automatically as you upload them to your site. Auto-Optimize to compress and combine all of your assets on your website, so your styles and your JavaScript files, so that it's faster. The browser doesn't have to load so many files. Super cache, so that the server is caching all of your pages so that users can load them faster. They're not constantly going to your server's database to try and build the page on every single view. And security, iTheme security. So they all have wizards. They all work very well out of the box. You don't need to configure anything beyond the default settings. And they will go on absolutely every website that we produce here at Pixel. So there you have it. That's our top plugins for WordPress. And that's our first podcast. Hopefully it went all right. We'll review it straight after and listen to the audio and see how quiet Nick was talking compared to me. And yeah, we'll be publishing this live soon. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.